possess the immunity idol.
It's every man for himself.
Catch a new Survivor Thursday.
Well, we're moving closer to that tip-off time. We don't have anything left but the prom after this one's over. We're all set to go. Now we're going for the #1 rank. The big matchup.
The pride awaits one team.
This is what it's all about.
The moments unforgettable.
Robinson with an opportunity to put Michigan ahead.
Painted, then repainted by those who have witnessed them.
Smart takes the shot, and 3 seconds. Go ahead.
Simon says champion. Bill Walsh breaking the record with 44 points.
Kansas has won the NCAA title.
With 4 seconds, gives it up corner. Lee shot blocked. They have less than a second to go.
What memory will you leave behind?
Wittenberg, that's a long ways.
Goes back to Michael Jordan, jumper from out on the left. Good! 63.
He has reinstated the magic at Michigan State. Look at Hurley. He'll pull. Oh, can you believe he got that high?
And when your moment comes, will you seize it? It's your game tonight, ours forever.
This is what the tournament is all about. The shot. Pass to Leitner. Miracle! The Clippers down!
Keith Smart is the hero.
Syracuse is your national champion.
Welcome, everyone, to Indianapolis. Tonight, the capital city of the Hoosier State is also the center of the college basketball universe. A monumental journey that began 3 weeks ago with 65 teams ends here at the R.C.A. Dome with the first ever meeting between Florida and UCLA, playing in their second national title game in the last 7 years, while the Bruins are seeking a 12th national championship and their first in more than a decade. Good evening, everyone. I'm Greg Gumbel. Welcome to Championship Night as CBS Sports proudly presents its 25th consecutive NCAA Men's Basketball Championship. Our tip time tonight is set for 9:21 Eastern, and at the conclusion of the title game, this coveted trophy will be presented to either Florida or UCLA. Joining me, as always, might as well have them for the championship game, Clark Kellogg and Seth Davis of Sports Illustrated. And guys, tonight a classic matchup. Florida, the best shooting team in the nation. UCLA, one of the top defensive squads. Who do we watch and what do we watch for?
Well, let's start with Corey Brewer. His game is as versatile as a potato. He can come baked or hashed, fried or mashed. This guy has the versatility and skill offensively and the size and length defensively to really be a matchup problem for UCLA on the perimeter.
I'll tell you what, he's got to avoid being French fried by the UCLA Bruins. It's been the story of this tournament, holding opponents to 37% field goal shooting, and UCLA's defense is their best offense. This is Florida's biggest concern tonight. They have a negative turnover margin in the tournament. If they're turning the ball over to UCLA, UCLA will score.
The backcourt for UCLA is a terrific one. Jordan Farmar, a sweet shooting and smooth ball handling guard, runs the show. Aaron Aflalo is his backcourt mate. A-squared has to bring his jump shot. It's been AWOL for a while. He needs to be attacked tonight.
And how about Florida's defense has not gotten enough credit in this tournament. We all know what Joakim Noah, who will be the best player tonight, we know what he can do inside in terms of rebounding and blocking shots. Look for Noah to help out on those screens, 17 and 18 feet away from the basket to keep Farmar and Aflalo from turning the corner and driving.
I thank you both for answering my question. Coming up, we'll hear from both coaches when Prelude to a Championship continues here on CBS.
CBS Sports presents Prelude to a Championship, sponsored by the new AT&T. Your world delivered.
Imagine seeing a network that connects us all. SBC and AT&T have joined forces to create the most complete and secure network on Earth, so you can create a world unlike any other. Yours. The new AT&T. Your world delivered.
You can't ignore Friday's sizzling chicken and shrimp.
So come in for one of our irresistible sizzling platters. Everyone could use more Fridays.
I'm going in.
I mean, is there anything they don't charge you for these days? Every time I make a trade, big commissions. Buy a few mutual funds, bam. I mean, just having an account in the first place, cha-ching, you get a bill just for walking past their office.
Over the last 100 years, millions of events gone pro in something other than sports.
We are happy to welcome you back to Indianapolis, Indiana, and some very, very famous alumni around. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, who won 3 national championships with UCLA from 1967 to 1969, and his fellow Bruins center, Bill Walton, who won 2 titles with the school in 1972 and 1973. And speaking of UCLA, we want to pass along UCLA's legendary coach, John Wooden, who was hospitalized yesterday back in Los Angeles. We are told that his hospitalization is not considered serious and that he's watching tonight's game from his hospital room with his family. Well, this has been an unpredictable tournament with many plays that changed games and defined a team's success. They're the Pontiac game-changing performances. Every round, the fans voted. Every round, one school earned a $5,000 scholarship from Pontiac. And now, one school will earn $100,000 for the Pontiac game-changing performance of the 2 basketball tournament, bringing Pontiac's contributions to almost $300,000 this year alone. The votes are in, and here are the 4 finalists.
In the corner, 3 seconds to go.
Northwestern State.
Oh, my goodness!
On his own from way downtown.
LSU.
Baseline, cut off, bounce pass.
UCLA.
Abrams, Paulino to win. Oh, my, he hits it.
And the winner is the Northwestern State Demons. Your game-changing performance has earned your school $100,000 in scholarships from Pontiac. Tiny Northwestern State shining brightly right now. Congratulations. 3 years ago to the day that Ben Howland was hired to return UCLA to college basketball glory. Dan Bonner caught up with the coach a short while ago.
Ben, a lot of talk around here the last couple of days about defense, particularly after your team's performance on Saturday. What kind of defensive challenges do the Gators present, and how are you going to deal with them?
Well, they present some big challenges because they're so good. You know, he was MVP of their regional, great player, very skilled, really runs the floor well. I mean, he runs the floor as well as anybody in the country. I'm really, really impressed with Horford. The thing that makes them really special is how skilled they are. They really pass the ball well. This is a leading team in the country in field goal percentage offense at 50%. And over a third of their shots are threes. So there's a lot of challenges.
Thank you, Ben.
Thank you.
That's Ben Howland is looking to join Dean Smith and Bob Knight as the only coaches to ever play in a Final Four and then coach a national champion. Coach Donovan allowed us to listen in on his pregame speech.
Guys, it's been about the same thing for us the entire year. It's been about us becoming the best team we can be. Tonight is not about the past, and it's not about the future. It's about right now. And you guys have got to want this night to last forever. You got to want to run and play and defend all night long. You got to live in the moment and understand there's going to be adversity and there's going to be challenges. That is what's brought us close together as a team, has been the adversity. Cherish each moment and go out there and play as a team.
We thank Coach Donovan for allowing us that access. I don't know how you can't get up and run through a wall after listening to something like that, but let's talk about what the keys to tonight's game are going to be.
Well, you could actually look at UCLA from the standpoint of who could be a game-changing performer. How about Luke Richard Mbamute? He has been a princely performer throughout the tournament. he's going to have to rely on his savvy and his quickness to try to counteract that size and length of Joakim Noah and also Al Horford.
Is Taurean Green, the Florida sophomore point guard, has not shot the ball well in the tournament and not a very good assist-to-turnover ratio. He needs to take care of the basketball and make open shots for Florida to have a chance to win.
We have seen these teams come off of some very, very impressive performances in reaching this point in the game. Who do you pick and why?
I like Florida because they're more potent offensively, but UCLA can win if they play saran wrap defense and put the pedal to the metal offensively for 40 minutes.
I am going to agree with my partner one more time. I do like the Florida Gators to win because of their guard play. Unlike LSU, Florida has the ability to handle UCLA's pressure on the perimeter, and I do believe that Taurean Green and Humphrey, and especially Corey Brewer, are going to come to play tonight with Billy Donovan, a great game plan. The Gators will win the national championship.
Florida Gators.
Florida Gators.
Florida Gators.
Florida Gators.
We'll check in at halftime, okay? Prelude to a championship will continue here on CBS in just a moment.
Prelude to a championship. Powered by Pontiac, official performance machines of the NCAA.
Once again, we welcome you back to Indianapolis, where right now our colleagues set to call the action for CBS's 25th consecutive broadcast of the NCAA National Championship game. Jim and Billy, take it away.
All right, Greg, thank you, and welcome, folks, to this grand stage. Hello, friends. Jim Nance and Billy Packard. For the 32nd year, you ready for another call here, partner?
Well, we had number 1 against number 2 last year. This year, I think we have the 2 teams that have played better than anybody in this 3 weeks. They deserve to be here. It should be a good one.
I agree with that. Let's take a look at their roads to championship night. Florida with the 5 wins by a combined 80 points. Their tightest battle was against a big shot late in that one to win it. What about the Gators? What to look for tonight?
Well, Jim, they have been outstanding in the paint, whether it be on the offensive or the defensive end. You can see right here, Noah with the block. Then when they come down at the offensive end, Horford with a good power move on the inside. They have been great in the paint. And they also have been able to put together a perimeter game. In Lee Humphrey, they have the all-time leading seasonal three-point shooter in Florida history. The young man can light it up. It'll be tough for UCLA on that perimeter to go. This team does is shoot better than any club in the country. #1 field goal percentage offense in the country. Makes it for a tough defensive assignment for UCLA.
All right, Billy. And for the Bruins, the road to the championship night, well, they've held 3 of their opponents to 45 or fewer. The Gonzaga game, 13 down at halftime. They pulled off the second biggest halftime comeback in the history of the tournament. What about the Bruins?
Well, I love this young man right here. Umbe Amute has been outstanding. He did a great job. Season high 17 points against LSU. You talk about toughness. This man right here, Ben Holland, brought it to Pittsburgh, and he has really brought it to the West Coast. This team plays hard-nosed defense. And when you start thinking about UCLA, Kareem, Walton, Goodrich, and of course, the great one, the Wizard of Westwood, John Wooden.
All right, Billy, will the Bruins rekindle that championship magic, or will the Gators go from the swamp to the top? We'll be right back.
Catch the amazing race on its new day and time. CBS Wednesday at 8, 7 Central.
Something different is happening at Golden Corral. Every night on the buffet, you can enjoy a different home-style dinner, different than the night before. And Tuesday night, families can enjoy kid-friendly prices, including free kids' drinks, slow-cooked pot roast, steaks cooked just the way you like, plus pizza, chicken, desserts, and more. Tuesdays are looking good again.
Golden Corral. Everyone deserves a good meal every day.
CBS Sports exclusive coverage of the men's national championship game is sponsored by Singular, Coca-Cola, Chevrolet, and by State Farm.
America loves trucks. Chevy trucks. Honest, hard-working backbone of the country. The 2006 Silverado HD. With the available Duramax diesel, it's the most powerful heavy-duty diesel on the road.
Now more than ever, the world is yours, not just a saying, but
Long live Silverado from Chevy. See your local Chevy dealer.
So I'm wondering, what's a thermocare heat wrap? Then I put it on my aching back and I realized, oh, it's like a heating pad without a cord. And my pain just melts away. Yes, I feel like I could do no.
Trust. It's everything. Nobody hands out trust. Talent is one thing. Combine talent with people you trust, and you will walk on that court with a level of respect no one can match.
The Hartford, a company built on 195 years of trust. Ask your advisor what The Hartford can do to help you plan for your future. Because you're not preparing to retire. You're preparing to live.
Nausea, heartburn, indigestion, upset stomach, diarrhea. Yo, heartburn, indigestion, upset stomach, diarrhea. Yo, Pepto-Bismol. Pink does more than you think. Word.
Welcome to Indianapolis and the Coke side of life. What do NCAA basketball fans do on their day off?
Welcome back. East meets West in America's heartland, in Hoosierland, inside the R.C.A. Dome in Indianapolis. Time for the lineups, and here's Gene Honda.
Welcome to the R.C.A. Dome in Indianapolis, Indiana, for tonight's national championship game between the UCLA and the Florida Gators. Let's meet tonight's starting lineups. At forward for Florida, a 6'8" sophomore from Portland, Tennessee, number 2, Corey Brewer. At forward for UCLA, a 6'6" senior from Los Angeles, California, number 21, Cedric Bozeman. At forward for Florida, a 6'11" sophomore from New York, New York, number 13, Joakim Noah. At forward for UCLA, a 6'7" freshman from Yaoundé, Cameroon, number 23, Luke Richard Mbamute. At center for Florida, a 6'9" sophomore from Puerto Plata, number 42, Al Horford. At center for UCLA, a 7'1" senior from Pasadena, California, number 15, Ryan Hollins. At guard for Florida, a 6' sophomore from Fort Lauderdale, Florida, number 11, Torian Green. At guard for UCLA, sophomore from Los Angeles, California, number 1, Jordan Farmar. At guard for Florida, a 6'2" junior from Maryville, Tennessee, number 12, Lee Humphrey. And at guard for UCLA, a 6'5" sophomore from Compton, California, number 4, Aaron Aflalo. The head coach, Lee Donovan. And the head coach for UCLA is Ben Howland.
Incredible stuff what Howland's done in just 3 years. While Billy Donovan 6 years ago tonight played on this stage in the Monday night final against Michigan State, falling to the Spartans on that occasion. Billy, let's go through your pregame analysis.
Well, in 1979, it was Magic Johnson, a sophomore, that led his team to a national championship. Noah's magic numbers. Look at what he's done in this tournament. He has been sensational in all phases of the game. 4.6 blocks. He is really something special. Deny the three, UCLA. They've held opponents 11 for 63. 17% is all people have been able to shoot from three against them. That's something that Florida will have to overcome, or UCLA have a big advantage. Gators goals.
This is the #1 field goal shooting team in the country going up against a team that shut everybody down defensively. Something's got to give in that area. And then when we start talking about this Bruin bench, they were amazing. Almost played 50% of the first half the other day. You can see a big advantage over the Florida bench in what they can bring.
Florida and UCLA on the floor together for the first time ever. Not since the '89 championship have two teams met for the title when playing for the very first time against one another. This game brought to you in HD TV by Harris Corporation, world leader in broadcast systems for high-definition television and mobile media. Jim Burr, John Cowell, Tony Green with the great honor of governing this championship game, and in the hole, Gary Maxwell, the alternate, if needed.
Hollins listed at 7 foot, Noah at 6'10". Noah's got him by a half an inch.
One game to decide it all.
Humphrey hit his shoulder.
It's going to the Bruins.
Clean shot clock, 35 seconds.
UCLA gets to wear the home whites because they were a better seed in this tournament. A 2 coming out of the Oakland Regional. Florida, the 3 out of Minneapolis. Knocking out the 1 to make it here to Indy, eliminating Villanova.
Brewer did a tremendous job chasing the foul on the baseline in one of UCLA's favorite sets.
Farmar and the Bruins patient with the first possession. Under 10 on the shot clock, leaning in. Farmar banks it home.
Humphrey, a good defender against the dribble, but it was very easy to get inside for Farmer. They cannot afford to allow that to happen.
Noah out high. They leave him alone out there. Now he works it in on Hollins, doubled up, swinging it around. Here's an opening 3, and Green off the mark. Hollins pulls it down.
Good decision. Farmar comes back to get the passing lane.
Good look for the Gators the first time down the floor.
And here you see Humphrey on Farmar. An excellent defender against the dribble penetration. Farmar, an excellent dribble penetrator. So that'll be some matchup.
And a whistle first. This is going against UCLA, and a push-off call against Hollins, trying to set a screen underneath.
Both teams really staying with their half-court offense as well, Jim. They've had common opponents, Alabama, LSU, and Albany, and both teams beat all of those opponents. They haven't lost.
UCLA's already gone through 2 SEC teams in this tournament, Alabama and LSU, to make the final. Looking for a 3rd SEC conquest tonight. Great pass. Horford sets up Noah, and the Gators are on the board.
UCLA went to the double down too quickly there.
And slashing to the basket, Bozeman hits the deck and is fouled on the shot. Fouled by Green.
Jim, what's going to happen if you double Horford that quickly and give him an opportunity to find weak side help coming from a guy like Farmar, much too small, so you can see the ball went right over the top.
Here's the young man, a senior in his 5th year, former McDonald's All-America, who has started at 4 positions in his Bruin career. Makes the first, and just to think that he was out all of last year with a blown knee, and he goes from the last time he was active, Billy, 2 years back, an 11-17 team, to one that is now playing in the title game tonight. Gets them both.
Pick it up, a little full court, taking a little time off the clock, making Florida have to work to get their half-court set started.
Green gives it up. Brewer fakes, now shoots and hits.
There's that 6'8" size of Brewers that kind of surprises people that play against him.
Hard to match up against.
Yeah.
Tubby Smith says he's the hardest guy on the floor to match up. You would know the Cats, of course, in conference play, saw him a couple times. Mba Mute, who had a season-tying high 17 and 9 rebounds to lead them to a one-sided victory over LSU Saturday. Oh, is going to be called for the charge, and it was Brewer who drew it.
Push off with the left hand, and again, we talk about Brewer, co-defensive player of the year in the SEC. He looks frail, but he's strong and he's quick. He's one of those wiry type guys, and with those long arms, Jim, at 6'8", he really presents a problem whoever he matches up with at either end.
He beats you in so many ways, too. You know, not only with his defense, his quickness, but his outside shooting. He's already made one basket from the inside, feeding it to Horford. He'll get the assist.
We're going to see a change right away from Ben Holland. He's going to put in a guy like Mata because Horford giving Hollins all kinds of trouble down inside.
Bruins dangerous territory at midcourt. Bozeman left open down the lane and drawing another foul. Well, when you look at the history of the programs, this is the second title game for Florida. Again, here in 2000, fell to Michigan State, that team that had Mike Miller and Udonis Haslem. The Bruins, though, this is their 13th final. They're 11-1. The only loss that UCLA ever suffered in a championship game happened in this city back in 1980.
Larry Brown coaching the UCLA Bruins that time, and Denny Crum winning his first national championship with Louisville. When you think about it, UCLA, Jim, in the Final Four is 26-4. Two of those losses took place in the very first Final Four John Wooden never got to. That was 1962. He lost in 62, never lost again till 74.
Numbers that are hard to
beyond comprehension.
Yep. Horford sitting down with one foul, and Humphrey, that's a tie-up, they say. Gators have the arrow. They brought in Richard, and they sit down Horford.
They're early in the ball game, not wanting him to pick up another.
Starting five still on the floor for UCLA. Green slashing, kicking it back out. Noah. Again, pushing it out to Brewer. He hits the three. We just talked about it. How many ways he can beat you? A steal, an assist. He's drawn a charge, and now he's hit a three-point basket along with an earlier two.
See, normally a Flalo would be playing against a guy smaller than he is, and this is not the case there. Brewer shot right over him.
Good pass, and no story that's been all tournament long. 24 blocks in the tournament.
Jim, keep an eye on the all-time record for blocks in a final game is 4. I wouldn't be surprised if he goes and gets it.
That's Green hitting the jumper, and a big start out of the gates for the Gators. Timeout, Bruins. Green hits the jumper after the Noah block. 11-6, Florida. Well, no one seeds in the final. In fact, not at the Final Four. Florida, 2 title game appearances this decade. The only program that can claim that. Billy Donovan in his 10th year building something special down in Gainesville. They did take a look at that Torian Green basket during the break. They reviewed, which they're allowed for a 3, and we agreed the toes were on the line, just barely, but clearly a 2. Collison in for the Bruins, Billy, number 2, and they've also brought in Mata, Lorenzo Mata, number 14.
Mata gives him a lot more bulk on the inside, even with Horford out of the ball game right now. Played a tremendous game against LSU in limited minutes the other day.
Mote, no, but Mata with the offensive rebound and travel. Will be reached the under 16 timeout. The Gators, some Horford delivering on the inside, leading. Tonight's aerial coverage brought to you by the Hartford. What a wonderful sight it is for the Final Four, where everyone can mingle. A real walkable downtown area, and everybody enjoying it. There's Monument Circle, where last night John Mellencamp entertained over 100,000 with a free outdoor concert. Florida has hit its last 5 shots to gain the early edge.
And so far, nobody, now Collison a good defender, but nobody offense initiated.
Noah, tough pass, Bozeman off his foot, stays with the Gators. Farmar coming back in. And they're going to give Aflalo his first breather.
So now you have UCLA going kind of small in the backcourt. Collison and Farmar. Farmar going to be up against Humphrey. Collison's got Green.
Right back inside to Brewer, turnaround short.
Brewer would like to have that look. And what we're seeing so far, unlike what happened to LSU the other day, Florida's getting a lot of good looks at the basket, Jim.
That's on Richard, and immediately Donovan goes to the bench. He's brought in Walter Hodge, and now Moss comes in for Noah. So no Noah and no Horford on the floor right now. Adrian Moss, number 4, is the lone senior on the Gator roster.
You get a feeling. There goes long. Humphrey doesn't see the passes going over his head.
And Farmar uses the body to shield him and lays it in.
Well, Jim, you introduced him to Peyton. You should have realized you'll go long when you've got Peyton looking at you. He was not a good defensive halfback in that case.
Brewer dishes, and Richard able to score on the inside.
Good versatility so far in this ball game from Brewer. Doing it at both ends of the floor, passing, shooting. And there you see it. Humphrey turned his back. Excellent play by Ben Holland's club.
Then at the other end, Brewer picks up a second assist. Knocks that one away, in fact, from behind.
Well, Florida had the numbers and hit ahead. Again, Brewer doing the job.
The 3 key starters sitting down at the moment, but Brewer's still out there. He takes the pull-up jumper. Moss flying through. What a rebound. All muscle and the putback. Adrian Moss, he's been at Florida for half of Donovan's tenure, 5th-year senior. Collison drives, and is it a charge? Yes, it is.
UCLA a little bit out of control. They've been playing games. Jim, we pointed out over 60 points against them in this great win streak of theirs of 12 games, but they're kind of getting out of sight right now. They have to get back down to playing their half-court offense with their good, solid sets, not turn this into a running game. I think that really would favor Florida.
That's Noah cheering from the bench. Humphrey goes out. Green back in. That charge on Collison executed beautifully defensively by Moss, who led the team in drawn charges on the season, something he's done all year long. Still 20 on the shot.
Moss is not going to take that shot. Hollins realized it. We talked about this Florida team. All 5 guys in double figures. All 5 guys with a positive assist-turnover ratio.
Collison. Again, Brewer from behind, almost wreaking havoc.
Those long arms.
Brewer has a couple of steals and 2 assists. The starting guards didn't even have a single assist in the win over George Mason.
Ben Holland trying to get his team back into their half-court sets, and there they go.
Farmar to Hollins.
Good job by Ben Holland. He doesn't want to turn this into a full-court game. They're so good in these half-court sets. Hollins does a good job. Little pick and roll. Brewer doesn't stay with the man. Wide open.
Hollins now 20 of 23 from the field in the tournament, but most of them have been something like that, so no wonder.
Well, he came into the Final Four with what we thought might be a problem with his knee, but it hasn't affected him at all. Nice step in.
Moss goes with the left hand, unable to hit it, and the Bruins come out of the pack with Collison.
He's got 2 point guards on the floor right now for UCLA.
We got Farmar, Collison, Aflalo also out there. Bob Mute's been quiet. Farmar on the drive.
Could be a hand check on the outside.
It's his first 2 attempts. Near the end of this game, we're going to select the Chevrolet Player of the Game. $1,000 contributed to each school's general scholarship fund. America's brand, Sports America's best, Chevy, an American Revolution. Foul on Hodge, so Farmar to the line. He was, Billy, what's interesting about Farmar, with UCLA's coaching position uncertain back when he was in high school, Jordan had Florida on his short list.
Well, I would say short list because when he was ready, the morning that he played, Billy Donovan was on the phone between 8 and noon almost 10 times with him saying, you know, we'd love to have you down here at Florida.
Could have been in this game tonight in a blue uniform, but there were others who thought they might have him too. Gonzaga went as far in the recruitment attempts to send the whole team to one of his high school games when they were down in the LA area to play Pepperdine. Roll coming in for UCLA, number 20. Collison out.
I think what Billy Donovan substitution pattern, trying to keep his guys fresh, knowing that Ben Holland doesn't mind using all 10 guys early in a ball game. As I said in the game on Saturday, the subs almost played as many minutes in the first half as did the starters. And we're in total control of the ball game.
When you mentioned that to Ben Howland after the game, he seemed surprised that was like such a disparity. No.
And I think he was happy to hear that too.
Horford almost able to squeeze it over to Noah. Had left Noah alone
You notice when Noah stands up and they play that high-low post situation, when he breaks down as a true 7-footer who can catch the ball.
Green.
Nice.
Passes up the short shot and feeds it to Horford. He'll shoot a pair.
Allen's having all kinds of trouble with Horford. Horford just too strong for him inside.
This call against Rolls, not on Hollins. Horford coming to the line.
Big difference in these two teams in regard to free throw shooting. Florida excellent at 74% as a team. UCLA was this year free throw shooting only 69%. In a game like this, could be a factor.
Switches to first. He had 15 rebounds, did Al Horford against Villanova. 13 rebounds against George Mason on Saturday. Remember Billy Donovan telling us last week that he has the highest basketball IQ of any player he's ever coached. That coming from an old point guard. He usually goes to your point guard when you're making compliments about that basketball acumen.
Well, Jimmy, remember in the regional how well and Noah handled the ball against pressure in the backcourt.
Hollins out to Green, who snags it.
Mbamute a little late getting there. Very impressed with Kareem Green tonight in terms of the way he's handling the ball against what has been just terrific pressure in previous games by UCLA guards.
A foul on Mbamute. Look at the Gators.
Getting a lot going indoors in the paint. They've got nice balance. Because with Brewer and Green and Humphrey, they can take you outside in the perimeter as well. And I think that's why they're getting so much good spacing in their high-low post game.
Brewer slashing free on the baseline. Puts up the shot and doesn't get the roll. Mata able to control it.
Mata's a real space eater, isn't he? He gets in there and holds his ground. Very strong young man.
He had a good game on Saturday, didn't he? Season long. Aflalo, short, and Horford.
And they're running.
Or are they ever? 5-on-2. Humphrey passes it up to Noah, and again the Gators draw the foul.
And there's where Noah is so deceptive. At 7 feet, he can really run the floor. First guy down.
Foul on Mata. The Gators leading by 6.
Jim, here's a classic pick-and-roll situation. Farmer coming out. Now, Brewer has done a great job today, but watch how he stays with the screener and allows Hollins merely to roll back into the basket. And when he does, and he goes after his man, that allows Hollins to go right down the middle for an easy layup. Ben Holland did a good job getting his team out of that run-shoot type game and back to their half-court sets. Their problem right now is the fact that Florida's getting such good spacing on the inside with their high-low post game that they're getting a lot of good looks.
But in the game, and it's Horford right back to Noah, setting up Humphrey. 3-point shot, not this time. Hit 6 of them on Saturday.
Collison wants to run.
Aflalo dishes. Bozeman delivers the goods. Right back to look how quick the Gators push up the tempo. Green, no on the 3. And Bruins do a good job boxing. It's Bozeman at the other end with the board.
And they're looking at want to push it now themselves.
That was Horford. Pitches it up ahead. Brewer fouled on the way up. He got the shot down.
Jim, that was just a great pass. What Green did is he put that ball up in the air so Brewer could run under it instead of throwing a line drive pass that's tough to handle, particularly when you don't have the angle. Oh, there's Horford. Great block. Ball is thrown way up in the air. Brewer can chase it down. Beautiful play.
Corey Brewer, the team score for Billy Donovan this year. People thought this would be a total rebuild year after losing the nucleus of David Lee, Anthony Roberson, Matt Walsh. He averaged 7 a game last year, and that was the top returner.
Right, they lost 60% of their scoring with those 3 outstanding players. This was an extremely young team, and not many people gave them much chance not to be in this game, but to be a factor in the SEC this year.
First 3-point attempt of the night, pulled down by Noah.
Look at Horford taking off.
Noah, he takes that open space and does not get the roll off the rim.
If it hadn't been for Mata, he was going to flush that one.
Yes, he was. He's setting up for it, wasn't he? That's Mata's second.
Oh! He was all set if Mata doesn't come down with the arm. Noah puts that one right through. I'll tell you, because of his great speed, and he and Horford Jim, and you pointed out about Horford's basketball IQ, and I think we've got a lot of kids out here with great basketball IQ. When you take a Mbaye Moute in the game, having only played 5 years, it's rather amazing.
Noah slides the first one in off the rim and the glass, and Hodge replaces Brewer. Hollins back in for UCLA. Mata down with the 2.
Noah this year set a new record. He made 19 fouls in that 19 for 22 game he had with 37 points against Georgia. That's a new record, breaking Neil Walk's record of 18 in the past. So despite the unusual looking shot, he...
Well, the Gators now increase the lead to 8, their largest of the game. Hollins thought about it. He'll wait and let Farmar reset.
It's the first time that Florida showed any kind of full court trapping pressure. Again, the pick and roll.
Farmar, jumper, good again.
Dangerous cross-court pass. Collison was one step away of picking that one off and laying it up.
First 10 minutes of the game complete, and Florida has not turned it over once. Humphrey sets, shoots, and a chance for the 4-point play.
Humphrey has been amazing against Arkansas in the first round of the SEC tournament. He had 25 points. We saw what he did the other night with an outstanding basketball game, shooting from 3. He was 1 for 5 to start of the game on Saturday. Billy Donovan's rule, just keep right on shooting. Will a guy ever make a jump shot where a guy hits him on the elbow? That is some concentration there.
He really was the one who ended George Mason's great run through this tournament. Right at the start of the second half, he hit 3 quick threes, and now a chance for the rare 4-point play. And as you pointed out, not a great free throw shooter, but how about those bounces?
Averaging, despite the fact that he is the #1 3-point shooter in Florida history for a season, he has averaged 55% from the foul line here, and he did the same thing as a freshman.
Richard in, and back to the bench, Horford.
There's that pressure. Throwing right over it. Nice move by UCLA. Billy Donovan mixing things up defensively here.
Aflalo, Hodge on him. Hollins open at the line. Now steps in, and a second block on the night for Noah. Hollins gets it back, though, and pinned for a moment and taken away.
Leading the break. I talked about magic of Noah. That's like Magic Johnson used to get those defensive rebounds. Turnover.
Farmer picks the pocket of Brewer. The first turnover of the night against Florida, and Farmer takes it all the way.
Noah does have that ability. Get a defensive rebound and push it out with the dribble.
And a push-off reach-in call. Boya is in for the Bruins, but it's going against Roll, his second. More Americans will be watching than anything else. A new episode of CSI on CBS, America's #1 network. So 10 team fouls already on UCLA, just 11 minutes into the game. So double bonus, and Humphrey back to the line. You suggested on Saturday it'd be wise to step back a little bit.
Hey, if you're shooting 45% from 3, almost 46%, and you're shooting 55% from the foul line with nobody guarding you, shoot those shots that are about 16, 18 feet and use your jump shot.
Wholesale changes for the Bruins. They got Mata back, Mbaye Moute. You know, we've talked so much about the famous fathers at Florida. I thought we should mention about the other 2 fathers out of the starting lineup. There's his father, Tony, who's a middle school teacher, middle school basketball coach. Tony Humphrey. Just as much pride as the famous fathers. And Corey Brewer reaches in. He's the son of the farmer back in Tennessee, and he says his dad's his hero because he taught him the value of hard work. There is Humphrey's dad, again a school teacher back in Maryville, Tennessee.
Flalo did a nice job realizing Brewer coming behind. Now here goes Billy Donovan changing his defense again. Going to a 2-3 zone. He's really switching things up. Ben Hollins changing a lot of lineups. So what Billy Donovan is doing is changing a lot of defenses.
Mata thought he had a look and went up cleanly, but all there.
I think nice job. If you're going to change those lineups, I'm not a look at my same defense.
Moss is back in. Noah out. Moss has given him already some good minutes off the bench with an offensive board and a putback. And that's Richard. Missing the short one. Mute pulling it away.
So far, Aflalo has not been able to get going offensively in either game that we had here in the Final Four.
Great pass, but too strong with the shot. Mata gets it back. On by Richard, and Moss says, I have it. That's going to be a foul on Mata, and that's number 3.
That's going to really hurt UCLA because he does bring some strength and stability in the low post defensively. Florida needs it. He should have had that layup.
Should have had the layup. Not a third foul.
A wide open opportunity on that layup, Jim. You got to finish those off. This is a big foul for a substitute to have 3 that Ben Holland needs, considering the team.
And again, Moss making some plays off the bench. Senior from Houston, Texas, Humboldt High School, just north of the city. And he'll get one more.
Well, last year he had 16 starts, 6.8 points, 4.6 rebounds a game. So we're talking about a pretty experienced guy here coming off the bench, adding that depth, power, and size for Florida. You've got both Horford and Noah on the bench right now, but able reserves here.
Billy, you talked about all 5 start on the sidelines, but all 5 starters averaging in double figures at Florida. They also have something else that's unique. All 5 starters with more assists than turnovers. You mentioned that, but only one other Division I team in the country could claim that, and that would be South Carolina, which has already won the NIT. So those 2, the only 2 who can boast it.
Both from the same league.
Yep.
And South Carolina beat this Florida team twice.
Reverse fortunes in the SEC Conference tournament final.
Nice job by Collison to beat the double team, but
right out to Hodge, makes the theft, and that is stripped away by the Bruins. It'll belong to Florida. Last touch by the Bruins. 7 different Gators have already scored. They've got a double-digit lead first half.
It ain't pretty. I've done the show. It ain't lazy with no place to go.
Well, it's all Gators right here. 50% field goal shooting, only 1 turnover. Kind of amazing, Jim. 7 assists have led to 9 field goals for Florida. They are amazing on the year doing that. Almost 68% of their field goals come directly from an assist, which shows not only good spacing in their half-court offense, but guys that really understand and are totally unselfish.
7.5 to go first half. 3 starters sitting, including Horford and Noah. Here's Moss. He'll take the jumper. He's got the hot hand.
Big shot there.
There's an X factor for you, Billy. Didn't expect this kind of night from Moss, but he's coming up big.
When a guy is shooting 18% from the outside, you kind of let him shoot one, but boy, that was right down the heart.
Push off against Richard.
I see a little consternation on the eyes and the faces of the UCLA players, and that was not evident at all. They seem to be focused. They seem to be positive. Right now, they're wondering what's going on.
Well, they did have to come back from 17 down as they bring the big guys back in, Noah and Horford. They were 17 down to Gonzaga. Down 13 at halftime. Second biggest halftime comeback in the history of the tournament, including scoring the last 11. What must Gonzaga be thinking tonight, knowing that they had this team almost put away?
And here's the 2-3 matchup. Horford didn't realize what... Right now, Florida a little bit confusing in what they're playing. They start out in the 2-3, but they're matching up with it.
And that is Farmar with the first 3 of the night for UCLA.
His 63rd 3 of the year. Big basket for UCLA, and he had big baskets the other day to set the pace against LSU.
That's Hodge in the corner. Noah with the long arms almost reached out for it, but it comes bouncing out from behind, forces the steal. Second time tonight.
Second time tonight, and he almost has had 2 others with that long reach.
Green takes it in, and there's a block at the other end. Hollins. Farmar surveys, dribbles right past. Brewer behind the back. Hollins and a foul. Unable to knock down the dunk.
Nice concentration by Hollins. That was a pass. That was not a fancy pass, Jim. That was the only Hollins, and sometimes big guys will take their eye off the ball running like that, but a good job on that catch.
I'll tell you what it did, though. It drew a second foul on Al Horford. and sends Hollins to the line. Boy, did he struggle at the line, even though he was the outstanding player of the Oakland Regional.
We watched him the other day in practice on Friday, and Ben Holland was on his case about staying with his follow-through. There he is, keeping that hand right up in the air.
I'm standing on that free throw line, and Horford has to come out, replaced by Moss. I'm looking up through the window pane on that basket, and you look up and you see a banner with a school's name on it, Indiana, as they have all the names of teams that competed in the tournament encircling the R.C.A. Dome. And of course, Indiana with a new coach named in the last week,
Calvin Sampson from Oklahoma.
Under 6, first half. Noah. Tough pass, got it then. Gets the basket. He's got 7, Billy.
We talk about that basketball IQ of Noah. He just was able to weave that ball right inside. Good look on his part. Ready for the double team. Florida goes back to the straight man-to-man, changing up their defenses, keeping this lineup off balance for UCLA.
Mute, no factor offensively so far tonight. And that hits the top of the backboard. It's going, that blocks some shots, haven't they? All tournament long. We're seeing it again tonight.
From so many different people. We talked about Brewer, what he can do. Moss in traffic. Horford, we know. And then, of course, Noah. Horford and Noah have set a record for the best 2 shot blockers ever in Florida's history on the same team.
Well, they got 4 on the night, 1 by Richard, 1 by Horford, 2 by Noah. And it's Noah touching it. High, driving in off the glass. Beautiful shot.
As I said, although Noah's listed as 6'10", Hollins at 7 foot, Noah, it plays a lot bigger and stands taller. Again, the pick and roll try, not happening. Aflalo is going to have to start getting the ball in his hands, Jim. He's too big a scorer to be this quiet in this game. They need him. He's being guarded by Green, a much smaller man. They ought to go to him.
It's only taken 1 shot, Billy, and another 3-point try. Not this time for Farmar. Humphrey able to pounce on it.
Who's the first man down the floor? Noah.
Working inside with Aboya. Aboya's battling for position.
He's banging him, isn't he?
Yep. I thought they might whistle something.
But Noah will take him outside and then use that speed.
Humphrey, this from the bench. And Aboya underneath. Brewer trying to mix it up, reaching in. No, timeout called by UCLA. Timeouts. The Gators continue to rule here tonight, and Moss is giving them something they didn't expect. Jim Nance and Billy Packer and my partner are all excited about those in the stands tonight, all this history.
Jim, I've been into many, many Final Fours. What you're looking at, fans, right there, are the 4 greatest centers that ever played college basketball. They were the leaders of their era. Bob Curlin won the national championship in 45 and 40. Bill Russell won it in 55 and 56, once the MOP. Kareem Jabbar, 67, 68, and 69, the MOP all 3 years. And Bill Walton won it in 72 and 73, the MOP. So you're talking about 9 championships, wow. 8 MOPs. That is a picture for a lifetime. They've never been in the same arena all at the same time. That is something very special, fans.
What a shot from Bob Fishman. Bob Deacus. Talk about going 4 corners. In the lane, a travel first, and we're going to have another break. It was a timeout called earlier by UCLA, but now we've got the under 4 automatic timeout on the whistle. 12-point lead. Another proud father here. Yannick Noah, last Frenchman to win the French Open. This was also the year 83. The shot, well, one of my favorite ones of all time at the U.S. Open, 2 years before Joe Kim was born. And thankfully, he didn't try, as maybe Joe Kim wouldn't have been here tonight.
But you know what's amazing? He has seen his son now. This will be the 3rd game he's ever seen him play. Set his all-time record with 37 points against Georgia. Comes back and watches him get to the Final Four on Saturday, and here he is for a championship. 3 pretty good games for a father to see, huh?
And here's his son dishing and having the pass stolen by Aflalo.
Aflalo has got to be the answer. He's guarded by Brewer. He's got to start doing something offensively. Too good a player to be held down. There he goes.
It's in there. And another block. Another block by Noah.
I think that's 3. And Jim, I said 4 is the all-time record in a championship game. He may be getting there at halftime.
Coming up, singular at the half, Greg Clark and Seth. First half analysis plus Dickenberg with an essay of the first 25 years of CBS's NCAA basketball tournament coverage and the awarding of the singular Naismith Player of the Year. All coming singular at the half. I don't think there's any question that record is going down.
Well, that was Lauren Woods from Arizona. Remember the great game he had against Duke, but not enough to win the championship for his team. But it's kind of surprising that would be the record. You know, 4 blocks.
Yeah, you'd think somebody, particularly the guys you just showed.
Well, you know, they might not have kept them back in those days. That's got to be what it is. Yeah.
Noah just committing his first foul. And Bozeman, he's back at the line. He's already 4 for 4.
Short.
He's 1 and 1, and that's a big one. So he gets one more try.
What I think we're going to see out of Ben, more consistency with who he has on the floor, because Florida has given him a lot of different looks, and it's gotten UCLA out of their offense.
Mbamute keeps the possession going, but Brewer almost strips him. Mbamute very quiet, Billy, so far at this end of the floor. 0 for 3, not on the board.
Well, give the Florida defense some credit there, particularly Noah.
Farmar pinned on the baseline, gets it out. Not this time either. Hollins working it hard and comes up short.
2 times in a row now, UCLA has had baskets they have got to make, and they may be worried about Noah's presence in there with that shot blocking. And Noah did a very smart thing that time, because he was out of position for the shot block and just left it go up there rather than have the cheap foul.
Moss, well, he hit one jumper, Billy. Forget about that 18% percentage. Might as well try another one. Without a field goal now for over 4 minutes.
As a weak handoff, Farmer was ready to turn the corner and shoot that jumper. Gave Brewer an opportunity to get back on track defensively.
Farmer with 8 on the shot clock. Puts up a running shot.
That's his 4th block, Jim.
Hollins, turnaround, yes. And there you go. You got the record tie.
At halftime.
Yes.
That was a possibility.
You didn't know, though, it'd be in the first half.
No, but I thought he could get the 4.
Bruins get it under 10.
And they need some more shutdowns.
Brewer working hard. Green very cool at the point.
He really has been, hasn't he, Jim? He hadn't turned the ball over. He's kept his team in the offense.
Takes the shot with 3 on the shot clock. And a hold. He'll go back to the line. CBS Sports Line, after the champion is crowned. You can head to CBS Sports Line for complete coverage, watch game highlights, and get reaction from Greg Doyle and Dennis Dodd only at CBSSportsLine.com.
Well, Jim, we talked about UCLA's bench and how productive they were on Saturday. Remember back in 2000 when Billy beat #1 Duke and he beat North Carolina to get to that Final Four in that championship game? Against Duke, he scored 35 points against Duke, 6. Against North Carolina, 37 points in the Final Four from the bench, only 2 for North Carolina. His bench brought into the Final Four 183 bench points, which is phenomenal. So this guy knows how to get it working, and tonight he's done a terrific job employing his bench.
His performance by Moss, again, unexpected and getting old for UCLA. He's got 9. Only Farmar has outscored him on the Bruin end. He has 12. And yes, half of this tournament, remember, they've already held 3 opponents 45 or less in the whole game in 3 of the games.
Flalo has got to get on track before halftime. He's wanting shots. He's just not getting them to fall.
That's Noah, and Hollins maybe this time to jump. He was up there ready to snag it, but the Gators patient now, 11 in front.
They're going to have to give it up, though. 45 on the shot clock. And 22 on the shot clock, 45 on the regular clock. So they have to give up the possession here. Ben Hollins screaming over there in his defensive stance, trying to get his guys' attention.
That goes on all game long. Yep. 3 on the shot clock. Brewer has it stripped. Farmar makes the play. And now with 20 to go in the half, Aflalo works the baseline, other side, and Noah got another hand on it. He has the record.
5 blocks in the first half. Magic numbers in this tournament. You can see Aflalo understands what he's got to do. It's just not working out for him.
1 on the shot clock. Moss at the buzzer does not get the roll.
But he did a good job for the first half, didn't he?
Well, Florida's bench outscoring the Bruin bench 11-2, led by Moss with 9.
Unexpected in that area.
UCLA shot 30% for the half. Gators grab control early and lead by 11, and here's Dan Bonner.
Billy, a real solid first half for you. What were the keys? What are your concerns?
Well, I think our ball movement was good. We had a lot of assists, at least it looked that way with our ball movement, and we got some pretty decent looks. They're a great defensive team. And then we were able to, I think, do a pretty good job in the half-court defense, other than I thought Farmer got freed up a few times for some threes and some drives.
Thank you, Billy.
Thank you.
Jim?
All right, thank you, Dan. Remember, the Bruins came back from 13 down at halftime against Gonzaga. Greg and company coming up.
CBS Sports exclusive coverage of the men's national championship game is sponsored by Mercedes-Benz, Capital One, Miller, and by the Hartford Mutual Funds. Sponsored by Singular, raising the bar.
In Indianapolis, in the national championship game at halftime, Florida leads UCLA 36-25. And these beautiful overhead views of the capital city of Indiana come your way, courtesy of the Hartford. Welcome, everyone, to Singular at the Half. Greg Gumbel along with Clark Kellogg and Seth Davis. Ben Howland is looking for an awful lot of answers in his locker room at the break. But let's talk about the things that Florida's doing right, Seth.
Well, Florida has Corey Brewer. That's a pretty good place to start. His blanket defense, right, stories of the first half. Poor Aaron Aflalo, who has scored 16 points a game during the season. He's got a bagel right now. And Corey Brewer, once again, very efficient on offense. 3 for 6 from the floor, 1 for 1 from three-point range, doing it on both ends of the floor. And yes, he can get out on the break in transition and finish. I think UCLA is in a lot of trouble.
They certainly are. Corey Brewer doing it all, but Jordan Farmar doing his very best to keep UCLA close. He's got a game-high 12. To see him aggressively looking for his offense as he did there against Lee Humphrey. Here he just beats Humphrey over the top. Farmar getting it done. He's made 5 of 8 shots. But he's been the only offense for UCLA, showing you there he can do it defensively as well. But he needs some help. And he's only going to get help if UCLA is able to squeeze the orange better. 8 turnovers. There's Corey Brewer again, forcing one against Aaron Aflalo. Corey Brewer again in the middle of this one, coming from behind. Collison trying to make play to be made. And then Aflalo again, bothered by the size of Florida, commits a travel.
And Clark, we said during the pregame that Joakim Noah would be the best player on the floor. Not even close. Already an NCAA championship game record, 5 blocks, and we're only in halftime. And look at the passing ability, 2 assists. UCLA just has no answer for him. UCLA cannot depend on its defense to win. They're going to have to try to outscore Florida. It's just not what they do well.
We showed the folks, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar and Bill Walton, in attendance prior to the start of this game, been every bit as dominant on the court as those 2 guys were in their heyday. As you look at the important numbers there, points in the paint, Florida leading the way, as well as the points off turnovers. Now, a reminder for you, tomorrow the NCAA Women's Basketball Championships take place in Boston. Maryland will play Duke for the title over on ESPN. It's an all-ACC showdown in the ladies' final. Up next, Dick Enberg joins us with an appreciation of the last 25 years of March Madness as Singular at the Half rolls on from Indianapolis.
Back in 1970, we didn't know about a World Wide Web. Was a whole different game being played. That's when I was a kid. In a cool way, picture yourself on a beautiful day. Big bell bottoms and groovy long hair, just a walking in style with a portable CD player. No, you would listen to the music on the AM radio.
made a name for himself as an ethnic cleanser.
We are now in a hot zone. Coach been broken. They catch him and put him on trial for murder.
TV's #1 news show.
Bob was in trouble, would you tell me?
No.
The Unit, CBS tomorrow after NCIS.
There's been an outbreak. I think these men were intentionally exposed. I found something I wasn't supposed to find.
Monday.
You said you were okay with being 40.
Yeah. The Nile ain't just a river in Spain, Carrie.
The King of Queens, then
Members of Texas Western's 1966 team were honored just a short time ago here in Indianapolis as they marked the 40th anniversary of their historic national championship. They were the first team to start 5 African Americans in a title game. Welcome back to Singular at the Half, everyone. Our halftime score in the 2006 national title game, Florida leading UCLA 36-25. Well, here in Singular, Naismith Trophy for the Men's College Basketball Player of the Year was presented to Duke's J.J. Redick. The Blue Devil senior guard was the nation's second leading scorer, the most prolific three-point shooter in college basketball history, and the all-time leading scorer in the ACC. Redick received his honor last night from Singular's Chief Marketing Officer, Mark LaFar.
I want to thank my teammates and coaches for everything they've done for me. My parents, my mother is fortunate enough to be with me tonight. Jeannie, she's back there. And I'd also like to thank the Atlanta Tip-Off Club and Singular Wireless. Thank you.
And we join in with our congratulations to J.J. Redick on an outstanding season as he joins the other great winners of this historic award. We've been celebrating 25 years of CBS Sports covering the men's NCAA tournament. Dick Enberg, an incredible quarter century it has been. Dick?
Thank you, Greg, and has it ever been just that? It's UCLA and Florida's turn now to be added to this musical score. And either Ben Howland or Billy Donovan will become the 19th coach to win his first title over the past 25 years. And what a concert it has been. 25 years have provided the full range of action, emotion, the images captured by our CBS cameras and accompanied by some string music. And as much as the game is just refreshingly so much the same.
And who better to strike up the overture in 1982 than the game's winningest coach, Dean Smith. His first national title won on a shot by a relatively unknown freshman, Michael Jordan. And yes, in this quarter century, the shorts would become longer, and so would the shots. As 5 years into the CBS 25, the lines were point shot would change the game. Reference Florida in the semis, earning a final spot, outscoring George Mason by 30 from beyond the line. We've learned there's no restrictions. Anyone can trespass. In the past, big men played the post. Now they claim court real estate, once the little guy's domain. 20 years ago, the shot clock introduced, reset it, and ensure a series of mini buzzer beaters. Tasty appetizers for the last of those who dared to be great at game's end.
Forrest shot.
The shot clock and three ball have certainly enlivened the two-step, and whether solo or with partners, if this is the big dance, Al McGuire was our Gene Keller. Time has taken his street genius, as well as DePaul's Hall of Fame father figure, Raymond, and the effervescent Jimmy V, who ran to chase disbelief in that improbable '83 championship won on an air ball. A cozy 19,000 were at the Albuquerque pit for that final. The big game is no longer that intimate. These 25 years answering the popularity of March Madness, now only the giant domes can accommodate demand. There's been no change in the spectators' supportive hoorays, although the hip hip. The fields have grown from 48 to 65 as our American game has gone global. In the 80s, we saw Hakeem add Whamma to fly Slamma Jamma, and now this year, more than 400 Division I foreign players. Predictably, 2 are crucial in tonight's outcome. And what shining moments. It touched us with a left-handed memorial tribute. It uplifted us with its beauty. It's been dramatic. Great to see for most, hard to watch for some. Bewildering in its unpredictability, but most of all, spectacular in its presentation. And so as fans, we embrace these 25 years knowing that young men and their mentors have lived out their dreams. 20 minutes to go. Florida, UCLA. So much is different, so much is the same. A daunting task, Greg. 25 years and 3 minutes. I wish I had another hour.
Can you promise us 25 more years of that tie? We love it.
All right. Go get them.
11 points. That's how much UCLA is down to Florida. What do the Bruins do to get back? And we know they have comeback ability.
Their only chance, I think, Greg, is simply to disrupt defensively and play in the full court and open court. They cannot slug it out with this Florida Gators team in the half court. They have to play transition basketball off their defense.
I actually got a text message from Mark Few, the Gonzaga coach in the first half. Our game, UCLA turned up that full court pressure. You'll see that press in the second half. And I really think that Aaron Aflalo needs to help out. He and Farmer have to score points. That's how UCLA's won all year, and that's what Aflalo and Farmer are going to have to score. They have to score a lot of points in this half to win the game. I'm just not sure they can do it.
I don't see anybody neutralizing Joakim Noah at this point.
Well, the best way is to try to keep him from being a factor in the half court. Get up and down in that 94-foot space. Try to beat him down the floor, which is virtually impossible, but that's the only chance UCLA has. They have to play a bench.
You have to keep taking it at the shot blocker. Don't be afraid of him.
All right, guys. Thank you, Dick. Thank you as well. Thank you for watching Singular at the Half. Jim and Billy are back with the second half right after this.
CBS Sports presents Singular at the Half, sponsored by Singular, raising the bar.
Rocking in the NCAA. Florida tonight, indeed. And let's take a look at the Pontiac game changer, Billy.
Well, here is Florida and what they have done so well. They have 9 assists, only great spacing here. Green with the ball at the top with an excellent first half. Now you're going to see screening down inside. Noah and Horford, who work so well together. UCLA tries to go ahead and switch. It's too late. The ball goes to Horford and a nice pass by Green.
And here are your points before the game. Let's see how they've matched up.
Well, we've got 5 blocks already, the new record for a championship game. Deny the 3. So far, you got UCLA doing a pretty good job in this area. Gators goals, well, they're not 50%, but pretty solid at 44. Bruin bench, which I thought would have a huge advantage. Look at that. Florida 11, UCLA 0. Hard to believe.
You talk about denying the 3. That has been really the biggest story, according to Billy Donovan, in their current 10-game win streak, holding opponents to 26% from out here. UCLA's only hit 1 so far tonight in 3 tries, and they'll be bringing it in from the baseline.
A bounce pass was an easy pass right there, and it would have led to a easy.
Mbamute, no. And he, along with Aflalo, combined 0 for 8 tonight. They averaged 12 a game in the tournament, and they have been shut out each.
12 for the game and 25 between the 2 of them on the year, Jim. So they're not getting any production out of those 2 good scorers.
Brewer, no. Rebound, Horford working hard for it. Brewer trying to tip it over to Hop.
Are they going to start to try to push the ball up the floor and get something going, getting Aflalo in the game? He's got Brewer on him, and I realize it's not that easy to go up against the co-defensive player of the year of the SEC, but he's got to figure out a way to get the ball and get in scoring position. Now he's got Humphrey on him.
And Farmer with 7 on the shot clock, and Brewer not wanting to give up anything.
Respecting Brewer's great length.
Give him a block.
How about that? He really respected the length, didn't take the jump shot.
Humphrey just like Saturday, hits an early three in the second half.
Ben Holland not going to take any more chances whatsoever. Farmer knows he made a mistake.
Florida takes its biggest lead of the championship game. Tonight, Dave's got Jack Hanna's Animals. Later this week, Bruce Willis, Denzel Washington. Late show with David Letterman. The man tonight, Joakim Noah. He's already set an NCAA championship game record with 5 blocks, all in the first half.
Jim, he has been outstanding ever since that SEC championship game where he hit the winning shot and then blocked the sealing shot that sealed it for their championship in the SEC. And his stats in this NCAA tournament rival some of the great runs that we've seen in tournament history, like Magic Johnson, Danny Manning, Glenn Rice. I mean, guys that just had great tournaments. He's right up there with them.
Well, on Saturday, he's been the best player in the tournament, and he's showing it tonight.
Dangerous passing.
And that's Noah reaching in, almost getting the theft. Chase for the ball, back to Bozeman with 15 on the shot clock. Quick passing sets up a Flalo. He still can't find it.
He's going to have to go ahead, Jim. You notice at the end of the first half, he started to get the ball and drive to the basket. He's going to have to get an easier shot than that one.
Billy, I told you, denying the threes really works on the other side. The Bruins 1 for 7 is their total so far tonight. The Gators, nope.
Oh, and there's another one of those offensive rebounds. Remember the other day against George Mason, it just was, they got 7 offensive rebounds on the first 8 misses they had in the game. Gotta break your back.
Humphrey gets it away quick. Quick release. And the Gators keep pouring it on. Up 17, matching the Bruins now. Biggest deficit of the tournament. Farmar, no, but Collins follows it up.
Now try. Humphrey had 16 of his 19 points in the second half after going 1 for 5 from 3 in the first half.
He's doing it again, just like he did against George Mason, coming out of the locker room in the second half with some killer punches.
Well, Billy Donovan learned from Rick Pitino. If you're a good shooter, you got to have confidence to keep putting up shots if they're good shots, even if you're missing.
And that's Brewer short.
Long arms.
Hollins on the floor, tied up, and the arrow still with Florida. And a put back by Hollins.
Collison in, Bozeman out. Ben Holland trying to get some kind of offensive consistency.
Well, you mentioned Rick Pitino. He's the one who really gave Billy his start in so many ways as a player for Coach Pitino. Starting his junior year at Providence, took him in from the bench to a star, and there is Coach Pitino.
Be awful proud of that guy. He said drop 20 pounds. He goes from scoring 3 points a game to 15, and then up to 20 as a senior, leading his team to a Final Four. Look at Noah's speed.
Then, of course, he gave Billy his chance to coach. Took him off of Wall Street after a year in the business community. Brought him to Kentucky to be an assistant.
But Billy, the only guy to, in effect, play in a Final Four, coach as a head coach in a Final Four, Harp also be an assistant in a Final Four.
And now twice as a coach, head coach, and there's Rick and Joanne this weekend celebrating their 30th wedding anniversary.
And he went to a Final Four in '96 with 2 SEC teams, one of which won. The last 2 times the SEC has put 2 teams in a Final Four, they came away with the champ.
But here's one of the twists. Rick lost on this floor in '97, then his protege lost on this floor in 2000 in the finals. Oh, Noah from the floor pitches it over to Horford.
And look at Orr as he did so beautifully against Villanova's pressure.
Brewer, he puts it up from 3, and the Gators are on fire. They have already reached that 45-point total. That's all the Bruins had given up in their last 2 games. Gators rolling. Race moves to a new day and time, Wednesday at 8/7. CBS, most watched network in the nation. Ben Howland, first head coach at Northern Arizona, starts 9-17, 7-19. Stuck with them. Went on to be coach of the year in his league there, then at Pitt, where he's also national coach of the year. Now national coach at the Pac-10 in his 3rd season.
Well, It's taken him 3 years in all spots, but he left the program in great solid shape in that third year, as you pointed out, Jim. Coach of the year in all 3 conferences. But he's got a lot of work tonight.
Mata, knowing Noah's there, but still makes the move.
Really hurt UCLA for Mata to pick up those 3 fouls in the first half and have to sit down. He's the one guy that's looked solid inside. Talking about solid, how good has Green been tonight? Very patient out there with the ball. Gets tied up.
Needing some help, calling a timeout. The basket by Mata, the first bench points of the night for the Bruins. Green calls the timeout. He has been something both of these two have. Brewer fires it. 16 points in front. Unit tomorrow after NCAA. Michael Rolls for the Bruins, number 20, defending the inbounds pass. Walter Hodge for the Gators.
Jim, we see just 2 starters on the floor for UCLA now. Their lineups have been so infrequent to have those 5 starters on the floor. They just haven't been able to get anything done offensively. They step
Working,
in.
and what a move. What a move.
Well, I think it was a great move because I think he walked.
That's what Howland's over there signaling twice.
You give me that little extra step with another foot, then you can make a lot of nice plays.
Bozeman inside, rejected by Horford this time.
Numbers, there was a
look
foul
out
by Roll.
Hodge driving in, putting it up. No, Noah back up with it. And it's going to UCLA. So Noah keeps on making the big plays, leading by 18.
More Americans are choosing the great taste of Miller Lite. 2.5 million in just the last year. Imagine 2.5 million new Miller Lite drinkers joined together across this great nation from coast to coast. Prairies. Across barren wasteland. United by great taste. That's good air. Through major metropolitan areas. Across rivers and streams. Through the mountains. I can't feel my feet. Standing side by side from sea to shining sea. But after doing the math, we found that 2.5 million people... Whoa, impressive! Wait, landing on somewhere in the Midwest. But with more Americans choosing Miller Lite every day, you can almost smell the ocean from here. The taste revolution is calling. Pick up the phone.
The world's first automobile race was held on July the 22nd, 1894, just outside Paris. Historians will tell you that race was won by Mercedes. We'll tell you the race with ourselves is never over.
Yellow. Hold on.
Jim Nance with Billy Packer in Indianapolis. Jordan Farmar, his father Damon, standing throughout that timeout with as you would expect, a look of concern. I was talking to Jordan yesterday, this being our 25th. Jordan winning our first one. I said, any chance? He said, yes. My parents thought he had so much prestige in that name. They told me I was going to be Jordan, whether I was a boy or a girl. Named after the great one. Flavo. This pass to Mata, but still they have to kick it back out.
Boy, Brewer has played a great all-around game, and he is making life miserable for a follow.
Mbamute with the thrower, snags it, takes off running. Bounce pass Hodge. Hodge up with it, no. Tipped up, no. Horford. And it's Mata coming back quickly to get the board.
Brewer probably should have given that ball to Hodge earlier, then he could have got it back. And look at Noah lead the break.
And Brewer takes it from the outside, short. Farmar says, let's get running ourselves.
Brewer should have kept that ball alive a little bit himself.
Farmar missing the short one, and that is going back to the Gators.
Jim, there was a situation where Brewer took his big men running in underneath the basket. If he'd have held it up, and Brewer's pointing to his chest back to Noah saying, I kind of made a mistake on that one. These guys, you know what's really amazing about this Florida bunch? You got 4 of them live in the same dormitory, the residence hall. You've got Corey Brewer, Horford, Noah, and Green all living together on a daily basis. Yeah, and that's why, you know, you saw that little reflection back. Yeah, that was my fault. He was tapping himself on the chest. He realized his 2 roommates had run that far. And
the 4 sophomores in the starting lineups. What it is, all roommates. They have a name for themselves, too. Here it is to Richard. Horford, so smart, finds the open teammate off the double team.
And the double team is coming from the weak side. We saw that at the very beginning of the game. Instead of doubling down from up top, they're doubling down with the big men, and that leaves a guy wide open inside. No help with the guards on the weak side. Brewer right down on the follow. Boy, he is doing the job.
Hollins, jumper, got it.
Well, I bet you all the big guys from UCLA are happy to see Noah on the bench because they don't get that kind of look when he's on the floor. Green has been so patient to keep his team in the half-court sets.
.18 ahead, under 13 baseline, and he is hacked by Hollins. Look at this pass.
Yep, he sees the double team coming from the weak side. Big man knows that he's got a teammate wide open and hits him perfectly. Jim, I haven't seen Green play this good all-around floor game. Now, he's playing against some of the best perimeter defensive players that we've seen all year long, and he is just not turning the ball over. Really keeping that floor spacing perfect for Florida. They're playing as fine a college basketball game as we've seen in a while.
Yeah, almost flawless. Noah wasn't down for long. One more for Richard, junior from Lakeland, Florida, and 2 good ones to bring it back to 20.
And look at what Billy Donovan does. He picks up full court. Brewer with that wide wingspan. Humphrey allows Collison to beat him. They had Collison right where they wanted him.
A follow him every time he touches it. Collison. Oh, can't go in there. Now get an open shot. Takes it. Doesn't get the roll. 2 Bruins battling. Hollins to the floor. The arrow to UCLA.
Good job by Richard to get that tie-up.
It's UCLA team with 12 straight wins. Won the Pac-10 regular season and the conference tournament. On the Boya, perfect pass. Collison to Boya for the dunk.
Lined up and just overpowered Noah, going right over the top of him. But he's a competitor. He's not going to let that bother him.
Stirs the crowd, but still much work to go for the Bruins. Noah off the glass.
Hey, take that, huh? Take that. That kid is some competitor. We saw the genes here tonight watching him. And his father, obviously, if you can be the French Open champion, you've got some competitive spirit. But that young man possesses it all.
By the way, he says if his teammates want to play him, he'll be happy to take their money from the corner. 3-point shot, all air. It's Collison underneath. And it's off Florida.
Follow just so frustrated, he can't even buy a shot.
It'll be UCLA ball out of the break. Down 20. Tomorrow on CBS, a chilling new episode of NCIS. You won't want to miss it. Tomorrow at 8, 7 Central, on America's #1 network.
Jim, when you start looking for the most valuable player, most outstanding player in this particular game, there's so many candidates in regard to Brewer and Noah particularly. Amute is 0 for 6. Alfano is 0 for 5. Can you imagine those 2 guys 0 for 11 have not scored a lot of credit for his defense.
That may finally change as Aflalo is heading to the line for a pair.
The wrist looks like it's still bothering him a little bit. He's holding it. Obviously, if you haven't made anything, it really starts to get sore.
And foul on Noah, his second. And the young man who was born to be a Bruin has his first point of the night. And Green coming back, and born to be a Bruin because he was born at UCLA Medical Center. And in fact, on October the 15th, a significant date in college basketball.
It started
practice.
That may help him getting to the line, getting what it feels like to put a shot in.
He saw his father Ben. Yeah, maybe that will give him a little something. With his confidence.
Roll out here now, wanting to make sure that Humphrey doesn't get any kind of a look.
Humphrey right back inside.
Good
Noah backing in and over Hollins. Hollins pulls it down. Howson in the lane, short. And it's a Boya falling back and fouled on the shot.
But that's going to be Richard. Richard's playing some valuable minutes, have been giving Horford an opportunity to get some rest and stay out of foul trouble. That's his third, but you know, those are three that Billy Donovan can afford. When you take a look at Billy Donovan over there on the sidelines, this is a guy that the 77 years before Donovan got there, Florida averaged winning 11.5 games a year, 5 NCAA tournament bids. Since that time, he's averaging 21.4 wins a year, and he's working right now on 8 straight NCAA tournaments. Not bad for a young coach, huh?
His second championship game and 10:57 away from the title as Farmar comes back in. Horford also. Well, you think about all the championships at UCLA and the decorated history there. They did not even appear, talking about Florida, in the NCAA tournament until 1987, and UCLA already had 10 national championships by that time.
Malone took the team there for the first time. Well, it did take Coach Wooden 15 years at UCLA before he got himself his first title. So coaches should be, and the president should be a little more patient.
Wow. Look out!
There's that speed when he starts at the top of the key. He can catch the ball on the run. And a great finisher.
Green, though, with the assist, making the eye contact with Noah.
Jimmy, you look up at the 10-minute mark. Florida can no longer be in a trading basket mode. They're going to have to start turning the ball over, creating some offensive opportunities for their defense. Look at Noah going down that lane.
Well, there's the reason why. All set up by Taurean Green.
Green, you know, Green, Brewer, Noah, when you start the Horford, they are all having superb games. 6 assists for Green, and just great floor generalship in this one.
Brewer's sitting down now. He picks up his second foul. UCLA in that first half shooting right around 30%, now 29. Farmar leaning in with the body, looking for the call, doesn't get it. Back out to him. They close in on him. Aflalo, what a pass. Over to Mute for the first time tonight. He scores.
But again, you're back into the trading basket concept. They've got to start turning Florida over, and they have not been able to do it primarily because of this man right here. Green has been so patient.
Driving the lane, setting up another assist. No, because there's a foul first.
Now, Sidney and his young son, Sidney, was a power player for UNLV. His young son has been a powerful performer here for Florida, playing a much different position. There's Sidney.
Once a teammate of Michael Jordan in the pros. He had Jordan when Taurean was just an infant. Tap him on the head. As Sidney thought it might bless him to become a good basketball player. So the dad, now a coach, Sidney Green, knowing what he was doing back then. Here he is, his son dishing, and ball on the floor, picked up by...
Look at Horford chasing it down. Boy, he's got good speed.
Open three, and they're struggling from the outside, as has every other team in Florida's current 10-game win streak.
But, Jim, that was a wide-open look. You got to start burying those shots when you're down like this. They are 1 for 10 from 3 tonight.
Humphrey.
Good pass.
And a dunk. Horford from Humphrey.
Boy. That was just a great pass because Horford had Boyle on his hip. Thrown.
Aflalo, he puts up one and hits it from 3. Just the second of the night for the Bruins.
You can see Ben Holland over there telling his team he wants them to pick up full court.
I think there's a little question here for the officials.
2 or 3?
Yeah, 2 or 3. Official on the other side of the court, Tony Green, said he thinks it might be worth a look, so John Cowell joins him and they'll take a look at it.
Here's what I like about what Florida can do. When you start to press them full court, look at who the 2 guys are. One taking the ball out of bounds is Noah. The other guy down there, here we'll see in. I think he's behind the line.
Yeah, that's a 3.
But you've got Horford and Noah down here to help bring the ball up the floor. Yeah, I think he's behind the line.
No question about it.
Couple inches.
So Aflalo, after some recent free throws, comes in now and hits a 3 with just under 9 minutes left.
Now watch this play by the big men from Florida. We saw it against Villanova's press. It is amazing how well they handle the ball and the decisions they make in the backcourt. There's Horford, comes back to the ball after setting a screen. Not afraid to dribble the ball up the court. Is that amazing or not?
And he draws the foul.
Well, they said he stepped out of bounds.
Did, yeah.
I thought he got pushed.
Yeah, we did too.
Little body contact over there, but the big man put the ball on the floor and beat the press.
So the Bruins coming off the 3 now. Get the turnover. That's only the 6th of the night committed by the Gators. That's it.
And the Bruin faithful realizing time. He made it anyway.
Big one. Aflalo with 2 straight. Still, it's 14.
Ben Holland would love to get this thing down in single digits.
The last 6 to the Bruins. First mini streak of the night. Brewer dishes. Noah dunks. And the Gators just can't be stopped at that end. Timeout, Florida.
I think Billy Donovan calling the timeout to guarantee his team that they've got to stay.
9-1 in blocks. Noah the top scorer with 14.
Jim, you've got Florida, who set a record this year with 197 blocks coming into this game, a new school record. Then you have on the other side, and that's why that 9-1's not that far off. UCLA 9th in the Pac-10 in block shots. For as good a defense as they played, they were not a shot team. They were possession, and they got good position in their defense, and that's why they were holding people down.
Ben Howland asked about that yesterday. He says, we're going to get better at that with this program. People don't realize when I was at Northern Arizona, we led the country in three-point shooting 3 straight years. We will get better. So it's not just going to be this beat 'em up, bruise 'em up, Big East style of ball that it looks like at the moment, according to the coach. Years to come, and that's last touch by Green. We have the under 8 official timeout. 9:43. Noah leading the Gators to the 16-point advantage. Relive the excitement of this year's tournament. Watch archive games with NCAA March Madness on demand, all free and available only at ncaasports.com/MMOD. The NCAA celebrating its centennial and the final to their hometown here, Indianapolis, in 2010, and then every 5 years thereafter.
But not in this building. How about that, huh?
Yeah, it's going to be right next door to the new dome being constructed.
You know, I love that timeout by Billy in this particular case. He knows that he cannot lose this game if his team stays patient against the press. And that's the one thing I'm sure he went over during this timeout. They're going to be pressing you. They've got to turn you over to get back in this ball game. Play solid.
Farmer, tough shot over hump clock. Tough one. He had scored 12 of UCLA's first 20, but not again until that one. And in a reach-in foul, I don't know, but it looked pretty clean. They say he got a piece of the arm.
Well, you got to figure Orford's hands are pretty strong, and it was a guard taken away from him. But here's what Florida does, and it's fun to watch, that the big men are really the key guys responsible for beating the press. Horford really does a job coming back to catch inbounds passes. Noah not afraid either. Dangerous pass.
Gray can handle the ball on this team. And another dunk.
That's where these big guys are different than most big guys you see on the college level. The two of them work so beautifully against the press.
I tell you, they're dunking it with such regularity. This is starting to take on Phi Slamma Jamma proportions in that game against Louisville in the semifinal that people still talk about.
Well, that was a great semifinal. Nobody thought NC State had a chance, but when the whole thing was said and done, Jim Valvano walked away with a
scoring again.
But again, trading baskets, and Ben Holland trying to get some turnovers here. But again, it goes back to the big guys.
Noah, did he travel? Everybody in the building on the UCLA side motioning, but no call. Humphrey loses his footing, and he tries to call a timeout. They give it to him. Now, look at the shot clock. It says 25.
That means that it
should have been a backcourt.
Well, I think now you know what I think may happen here. The officials may take a look at that.
We'll be right back. Humphrey granted the timeout, but Billy, I don't know. It looked like it was a 10-second violation here.
Well, let's see. He goes down. The officials aren't looking to go over and correct themselves. And Ben Holland, I don't think that the UCLA staff really recognized it right away, but they're not going to get the call. I think that should have been a 10-second violation. Might have even been a walk by Humphries as he had the ball and went to the floor with it.
And some of the staff members all pointing up to the clock, but to no avail. Donnie Daniels over there trying to.
And see, a new 10-second goes when it goes to the backcourt, so it's not like they only had a 1/10 of a second to get it back in there. You get another 10.
On to Horford. Short tip. And Bamute clears it.
And Bamute did a good job against Davis on Saturday for today, isn't he?
By a mile. Here's a Flalo.
And there's Horford. Nice screen. Bozeman tries to act it through. Doesn't work. And Green solid with his judgment. Noah.
And he is bumped by Aboya.
Aboya figured he could power Noah, but Noah can put the ball on the floor. He loves when a guy tries to press it on the floor with either hand.
Collins, Collison back for the Bruins. Gators to inbound underneath. There's 6 minutes left.
And look at where it goes out to the man with the sure hands. It's so nice to have big guys that can handle the ball and bail you out of problems.
It's Brewer. Tipped out. Flalo tipped it over to get away from the traffic. Takes the center. Look at that speed, and he scored.
Was that earlier? He exploded on that play.
They brought it from 20 to 12, and that's off the knee of Green, able to catch up with it. Time and time again.
What a recovery. Bounced it off his knee, but there was no UCLA player there to get the loose ball. Again, the trading baskets will not work.
Farmar looking for a three. And Green able to get the easy rebound. Speeds right past a couple of Bruins. Pitches it out. Humphrey again.
Now, normally you'd say to Humphrey, why are you shooting that shot? You've got the clock working for you. But his role is, you're open, put it up. Pretty good high percentage shots, huh, Jim?
How many times have you seen it? Green has 7 assists now on the night. 30 points in the paint overall for Florida. Bozeman back, Farmar and Aflalo starting backcourt, sitting down for a breather. Roll back for
Willie Donovan. Compliment of big men to spell Horford here and get ready for that last 5 minutes. On the arm, Humphrey got hit.
Collins able to retrieve it. And the Bruins trying to inch a little closer. Collins stepping in, and number 6. 6th of the night.
Not only a block, but all of the man sitting in here tonight, Bill Russell. Don't block it and knock it in the stands. Block it and keep it in your hands. Some play, huh?
That first row doesn't do it any good. Hey, he's tied his career high, but he set an NCAA championship high with the 6. Has the jumper, though, taken out of his hands for a moment. Feeds it back. 3 on the shot clock. Green, will he notice? Yes, he does.
It's okay. It's still alive.
And back to Brewer on the floor.
Is he going to get tripped? I think so.
Foul.
This is a la Bill Russell, San Francisco University. Thank you very much. I'm blocking your shot, and then I'm taking it the other way for my team. Some play.
I still say it's like Mr. Gadget when he needs to extend it just a little bit more. He's just everywhere. Bill Russell. If anyone, as you said, Billy, admires that feat, what he's doing out here on this floor tonight.
Would you say he's improved a little bit from last year's NCAA tournament where he played 2 minutes and scored 8 points? Or scored 2 points in the last 8 games Florida played last year. Now he's playing like the best player in the country.
He's grown up in a hurry. He's playing behind David Lee last year. But the maturity, you see it by the week, by the game, really.
Absolutely.
Brewer, jumper. And Mata clears it for the Bruins. Under 4 to play. Aflalo doubled up, creating a mess for the Bruins.
And the reach in with those long arms. to the stable green tonight. He gets fouled twice, finally called.
On Farmar. And the under 4 timeout as the Gators are inching closer to making school history. UCLA down tonight, but you think of John Wooden, particularly on championship night and when you're in Indiana. Kareem right behind him.
Right, Kareem won 3 in 67, 68, and 69, sitting right behind him. 2 national championships. Coach Wooden, imagine this, 18 straight games he won in the Final Four. 38 straight NCAA tournament games. Records that will never be touched.
Again, reported just before game time tonight, Bruins released a statement that Coach Wooden at 95 entered a hospital yesterday in California. They say it's not serious. Green puts up the 3, and they hope that he'll be released in the next 2 days. He is. All of us send our best wishes to the great man. There's Ba-Moute with the dunk for the Bruins.
Excellent pass by Farmar, but a little bit too late. You see that judgment by Green. He realizes that his biggest teammate right now is this clock, so don't try to make the big play.
Reach in, Aflalo.
And you know, Jim, I don't know if we have had a game in the Final Four, and I realize it hasn't been competitive from a standpoint of going down to the wire. So many players on one team had like the perfect game. I mean, when you start thinking about the judgments, this team, 5 starters all in double figures. We said at the top when we first had them a week ago, it's amazing that they all have a positive assist turnover ratio. They have excellent basketball IQ. They're very unselfish. And tonight they use their heads and their bodies to put themselves in a position to win the first basketball championship, not only their school, in the history of the state of Florida.
So young, junior in that starting lineup, playing hard every game all season, their coach will tell you, always playing with emotion. And then in the final, they even get the boost, as you see Tito Horford cheering on his son, professional player for many years. They get the one senior to come in as Ba-Moute puts the follow-up down.
Noah might get credit for another block on that play.
But they get the senior Moss, who comes in just to add a little wisdom and a boost off the bench with 9 big first half points. Talking about the perfect players.
Again, using their heads, get the ball back out and use that 6th man, the clock, to help them.
Right back out to Humphrey, puts up the 3, and good again.
Ben Howland thought that there was walking. He's screaming at the official. But you know Humphrey's not going to shoot that ball inside. He's looking to pass it and get back out in his spot.
Now on Florida. Here in Indianapolis, they can only hope that the new Colts kicker, Adam Vinatieri, will be hitting as many clutch threes as we've seen from Lee Humphrey the last 3 days.
Jim, you know, we mentioned about in 96 when the SEC had 2 teams in here, but you know, also think about 94, 2 teams to the Final Four the SEC had. Florida, this Florida club under Lon Kruger, and of course Arkansas. So now they are now going to be 3 for 3 with taking 2 teams to the Final Four.
Florida's biggest deficit of the night, 2 points. Aflalo, tough one, tipped around, picked up by Ba-Moute, and it's going back to UCLA. It was 4-2 UCLA, and then the Gators hit their stride and have not stopped. Farmar.
Noah. How many? Oh, and it was off and
flipping it over to Humphrey. Minute 30 left. What a virtuoso show here by the Gators. Noah with 14 points, 9 rebounds, 6 blocks. Horford coming up big. There's Christine Donovan. Her husband is about to have a national championship.
Not bad for 60% of their scoring last year and predicted to be the 4th or 5th best team in the SEC. Not bad.
You know what I think it tells you? Because UCLA is young too. We're at a stage, Billy, in college basketball with the major programs. Don't think about getting all that experience. You may not have the kids there anyway. But when you got them young, you got their attention and you got their ambition to do something great. They're coachable.
Right. Billy talks about that all the time. It is how close-knit they are.
Attentive. They want to get better. They want to get coached.
And they like each other.
Well, they room with each other. Coach Howland's wife, Kim Howland. One of the biggest thrills for Ben was when he got named the coach at UCLA 3 years ago today. And his mom and dad were there to see it as he came back home. His father passing away just a few short months later as Noah adds to the dunk total.
I would say that 70% of their baskets the last 10 minutes have been dunks of good, solid passing and good finishers.
Farmar hits the jumper. Collison's coming back in, but we've got a timeout on the floor called by UCLA. They're celebrating already at the Gator Inn in the building.
This ain't the first time.
Jim Nance and Billy Packer here at the Dome in Indy. It's down at the McConnell Center in Gainesville.
Jim, let's put Billy Donovan in some historical perspective.
See his father here.
There's his dad, Billy. Oh, look at, he is so proud. Billy, 230 wins before 40. Only Bobby Knight ahead of him in that regard. Knight, the youngest to coach a championship team. He did it at 35. Billy now will become the second youngest guy ever to coach a team to a championship in NCAA tournament history. And he joins Knight and Dean Smith as the only guys that have played in the Final Four and championship in Final Four.
Yeah, let's make sure everybody got those names one more time. He joins Dean Smith and Bob Knight. That's what we're talking about. And his proud mentor, Rick Pitino, got him in the loop. That senior season was the 86-87 school year, which was the first year of the three-point shot in college basketball, missing the front end of the 101. Green, a rare miss by him. And Billy, really one of the founding fathers, if you will, of the college three, able to advisors, they know the line, helping take his Friars to the Final Four. Like I said, play there and now coach a champion. And Brewer still trying to add to the steal.
He's been the octopus out here tonight, and Aflalo will attest to that. Impressive victory. There he is again.
He's everywhere. Magnet for the ball and a reach in. He'll head to the line. And there's the O'Connell Center. Watch him when they get the reaction a couple of seconds later.
Jim, they used to be a football school.
I heard that. No more. Although Urban Meyer, their great young coach, he's here in Indy.
Well, we're going to see, in my estimation, both of these coaches back at a Final Four in our lifetimes.
No question. UCLA seeing, like we saw last year with North Carolina, 3 seasons removed from 8 and 20, winning the title. Ben Howland taking another superpower, rekindling the magic. Not able to do what Roy Williams did last year, but got him here when few expected it.
Ben Howland saying no foul.
That's going to do it. They were almost 6 turnovers by the Gators. What a performance. The Gators, as good as it gets. Florida's the national champion. Brothers and sons. One of the great themes at every Final Four. You saw it earlier. Noah's heading over to see his pop. Once again, we're reminded when you do things as a team and play together, you can accomplish wondrous things. The shared experience, always the most fulfilling experience, whether it's with a friend, a teammate, or a parent. We saw it during the tournament with George Mason talking about togetherness, their breathtaking run to the Final Four. Bradley and Wichita State's Eastern State. The little guy playing like a giant, and as a result, doubtful they will ever be underestimated again by anyone. Billy Donovan used to be known as Billy the Kid. Tonight he's Billy the Champion. Florida has won it all in 2006. Our exclusive coverage will continue after this message and a word from your local station.
Welcome back to Indianapolis, everyone, once again. The new national champions, the Florida Gators, in a romp over UCLA. There is the final score, Florida 73 and UCLA 57. We remind you tonight on The Late Show, Dave has Jack Hanna's Animals, and later this week, don't miss Bruce Willis, Natalie Portman, and Denzel Washington. The Late Show, followed by Late Late Show with Craig Ferguson here on CBS after your late low. Coming up later on our post-game show, our special annual tribute to the NCAA tournament, One Shining Moment. Here are the Chevrolet most valuable players for tonight's national championship game. Joakim Noah for Florida, although you could certainly put up a good argument for Corey Brewster with his play at both ends of the court, or Corey Brewer with his play at both ends of the court. Torian Green, his floor leadership, and for UCLA, Jordan Farmar with 18 points for UCLA. Let's return you now to the floor where Jim and...
All right, Greg, my partner has seen 32 championship games. He says this is one of the greatest performances he's ever seen tonight. How did you do it? What was your game plan?
Well, he's kind of say that, Billy. UCLA is a great defensive team, and I want to congratulate them. They made it very difficult for us to get prepared, but I just thought with trying to space the floor, and you have to extra pass against them. And I thought our guys' ball movement and player movement, Torian Green did a great job running the point. Our front court guys played well. So it was really, but the one thing we did a pretty good job from the three-point line defending, and then offensively really shared it.
Hey, roommates, what is it going to be like going back there to that dorm?
We're gonna shine all day, all night. Please don't be mad at us if we don't do a little homework in the next couple weeks, because we gonna shine in Gainesville. Hey, Harlem, stand up.
America,
Kitchen, stand up.
America want to see us live, not work. Live.
Hey, Grandma, that one for you, Uncle Dre. You know, please don't burn down.
I want to say something to you guys. I don't know if I've ever seen a bunch of guys pull together. Everybody on the team contribute like you did tonight. You got to be really proud of your unselfish nature.
That's our team, baby. That's the makeup. That's our team. I love you, Roscoe.
That's the way we play. That's
Grandma Bojangles.
Hey, Coach, to have the first ever national championship for the state of Florida, for the University of Florida, tell me what that means.
Well, you know, it was interesting, Jim. Our faculty rep said to me before the game, he said, start with something from scratch and build it up to win a championship. That's the special part of it. So there's a lot of people that were a part of this. You know, the administration, these players, the assistant coaches, our fans. I'm just happy for everybody, but there's a lot of people that play a major role. I'm very, very blessed and very thankful for the opportunity that we have here coaching these kids.
Well, it's a big-time football school, but it's a great basketball program. The national champions, 2006. Billy, congratulations. Let's go back to
Jim. Billy, thank you very much. The Florida Gators began this season with a 17-game winning streak. They end on an 11-game winning streak. The championship trophy presentation coming up after this. A 57 win over the Bruins of UCLA. Time for the presentation of the NCAA championship trophy. Here's public address announcer Gene Honda.
Ladies and gentlemen, to present the national championship trophy this evening is Mr. Craig Littlepage, Director of Athletics at the University of Virginia and the Chairman of the Division I Men's Basketball, Miles Brand, President of the NCAA.
How about a round of applause for the city of Indianapolis, Butler University and the Horizon as our host for the Final Four. Also, congratulations to the two teams that played in tonight's championship game, the University of Los Angeles and the University of Florida. At this time, in behalf of the Men's Basketball Tournament Committee and the NCAA, I'd like to present to Coach Billy Donovan the championship trophy of the 2006 NCAA Division I Men's Basketball Tournament to the University of Florida Gators.
Sure, I guess so. On behalf of our staff and players, I want to first congratulate UCLA. They have a great team and had a phenomenal year, and we have all the respect in the world for them and their fans and their program. Second, I'd like to just thank these players for how hard they've worked and sacrificed all year long. Our staff, who's worked very hard, and I'm very happy for all you fans that you could share in it here in Indianapolis. Thank you.
Stay tuned. There is much more to come from Indianapolis. Comes your way right after this.